You know, Mallory, I heard that it is in fact subpar to be a CSU Ram.
No, Cyrus, I have heard that too. But you know it's not subpar.
No, what?
Sports Mag, which is coming up right now. Hey Buff fans, and welcome back to another exhilarating edition of CU Sports Mag. I'm Mallory Chris, and sitting beside me here is Cyrus Allen.
In this showdown special, Cam the Ram and Ralphie go head-to-head while CU and CSU fight to see who's number one on the field and in our hearts. This Saturday, the schools will meet for the 87th time, and so far, excitement for this football season is at an all-time high.
While attendance has shrunk in the past few years, the tailgate culture at CU is still going strong. From Franklin Field to the parking lot of Coors Event Center, pregame parties are everywhere on campus. But who has the best one? Sports Mag will head to a different tailgate each week to find out this burning question and eventually crown a champion. Find our first installment on YouTube. Just search Sports Mag Tailgate Spotlight. With the Rocky Mountain Showdown being this Saturday, the Buffs are looking to carry momentum from the UMass game. Let's take a look at what went well last Saturday. During this game, Nelson Spruce broke the CU record of 216 receptions previously held by Scotty McKnight. He had one touchdown during this stellar performance.
Spruce has been huge for CU ever since he started playing here, but our run game came to play as well. Christian Powell had a fantastic game with 2 touchdowns, including a 35-yard run. Michael Adkins also had a great day, especially on his TD run in the second quarter. He really needs to play well this weekend if we want to get the W.
No doubt about it. But you know, Cyrus, we can't only rely on the run game. It was our defense that really set the tone against UMass. They had a huge hit and a game-changing forced fumble during the third quarter that had a major impact on the defense's confidence, and that will give them momentum going into the showdown.
Yeah, Ken Crawley will also have to play well this weekend and lead our defense, along with recent surprise former walk-on player Ryan Muller, who had a game-changing interception last week. Mallory, how do you think we're going to do this weekend?
I'm feeling good about the showdown, Cyrus. In fact, here are a few keys to the game for the Buffs against the Rams. One quick fun fact, Colorado leads the all-time series with a 62-22 record. This weekend, we're looking at the matchup between Ken Crawley and Rashard Higgins.
This year, Crawley has 1 fumble recovery with 13 total tackles, and Higgins has been injured recently but still has 84 yards and a touchdown on the year. Everyone can hopefully watch this year's showdown because it might not be around forever.
In recent press conferences, players have said that this game against CSU is like any other. Coach Mack has a different opinion.
Definitely, it's a rivalry game to all of us because it's something. The best way for me to explain it is you win or lose this game and you go out to eat dinner for the next 365 days, the waitress, or if she's a CSU fan, or you run into other people that are the waiter, or you go to church, you hear about it.
The rivalry continues on this week's edition of Double Team with our very own Forrest Cobble and Alex Doyle, who break down the game into greater depth.
Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of Double Team. I'm Alex Doyle, and with me today is Forrest Cobble. We're talking football.
That's right, Alex. We got the Rocky Mountain Showdown coming up this Saturday. I'm excited. Are you?
I'm very excited, especially given our big victory against UMass last Saturday, 48-14. That was an exceptional game.
The most impressive thing that I saw in that game was that we ran the ball exceptionally well. The combination of our 3 starting backs and Sefa Lufau even scrambling out of the pocket provided a very dynamic and shifty running attack with each player giving his own attributes to the rushing threat.
I agree. This week, though, CSU's got a better rush defense than the Minutemen did, so we're not going to be able to run the ball quite as well.
That's for sure. They've got 4 massive men up front. They're running a 4-3 rather than a 3-4 now this season. That means they're going to play one gap football. They're going to get after the football very quickly. It allows those big men to be very aggressive, both rushing the passer and getting after the running back. Joe Kowalik, in particular, the defensive end, will be a big problem for Sefa Lufau.
He's also their smallest of those 4 at 260 pounds. So we got some work cut out for us.
That's right. If we're going to beat them, it's going to be through speed and athleticism. We're not going to beat them in smash mouth size battles.
On the other side of the football, CSU has named Nick Stevens as their starting quarterback. We'll see how long that lasts with Coleman Key coming into the game last week against the Gophers after Stevens threw 2 interceptions. He was also a factor, so we'll see what happens this week.
That's right. Key certainly played better than Stevens in that game. It's a classic example of an athletic quarterback versus a knowledgeable quarterback, a guy with smarts. And I think that Stevens is the better player, but Key has certainly played better to this point. But another factor in the mix will be that Stevens' top receiver and one of the best receivers in the country, Rashard Higgins, is going to be coming back this week from a foot injury. That'll be a huge factor.
Yes, it will. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. I'm Alex Doyle. That's Forrest Cobble. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks for the great in-depth analysis in what looks to be a great game this weekend.
The showdown is 2 days away, and CU is finding support from the stands to the press box. Joe Klatt, former CU standout quarterback, was promoted earlier this summer and named as Fox Sports' lead college football analyst. Klatt joins a list of CU graduates that have made their way to major sports networks, including Chris Fowler, who has been a part of the ESPN's broadcast team for many years. You can hear the former Buff on Fox Sports 1, where he will be sharing the booth with play-by-play broadcaster Gus Johnson and sideline reporter Molly McGrath.
With Klatt's promotion, it got many of us here at SportsMag wondering about CU graduates who have pursued a career up in the booth. So our trivia question this week is, name the former Colorado football player who has won a Super Bowl ring and then became one of the first NFL broadcasters. We'll get you that question later on in the show. Coming up after the break, the sprint and hurdles team has a new coach.
And the CU women's soccer team had a busy week. Stay tuned.
No foul.
The odds of a child being in a fatal automobile accident are 1 in 23,000. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 166. The odds say it's time to listen. To learn the signs of autism, visit autismspeaks.org.
This is a man who almost learned to walk at a rehab center that almost got built by people who almost gave money. Almost gave. How good is almost giving? About as good as almost walking.
Hey, I'm Jeremy Bloom, former CU student, football player, Olympian, and world champion. But most importantly, I'm a forever Buff, which means I'm part of 240,000 students and alums created by the CU Boulder Alumni Association. The University of Colorado will always be something I'm very proud to be a part of. The years that I spent going to school and playing football provided me with some of the best memories of my life. So come join me in creating lifelong CU relationships and explore the Forever Buff program.
Don't be mean. Clean your machine.
CU's head track and field coach Mark Wetmore hired a new sprints and hurdles coach, Burke Bachman. Bachman's experience in the Pac-12 and NCAA makes him a perfect fit. He previously coached at St. Martin's University for 1 season and was the associate head coach for 9 seasons at the University of Utah. His athletes earned a total of 3 national titles and 6 All-American awards, including 2004 Olympic gold medalist Andrew Rock. Bachman himself went to the University of Northern Iowa and was a 13-time All-Conference honoree. The University of Colorado women's cross-country team is now ranked 3rd after this week's USTF CCCA coaches poll. Michigan State is now ranked 4th with 314 points after the Buffs moved ahead of them with 326 points. The women's team still has work to do if they want to gain the #1 spot, which is currently held by New Mexico, who picked up 354 points this week. CU's home cross-country meet will be the 30th annual Rocky Mountain Shootout here in Boulder on October 3rd.
Women's soccer found something they had not seen over the last 2 weeks on Sunday: a loss. Coming off of their recent winning streak, the Buffs looked to roll against Northwestern. But after they tamed the Wildcats early, keeping the game scoreless, star forward Bree Hooks was awarded a controversial yellow card. The game went downhill from there for the Buffs, falling in overtime after Northwestern broke through their defense, scoring the game-winning goal. Even after the devastating loss to Northwestern, the women's soccer team still has something to prove as they enter Pac-12 conference games. Our own Kyla Green is here to give insight on the team and their shining moments.
Fans, this year's Colorado women's soccer team is off to a great start. After their 1-point loss against Northwestern last Sunday, they still have a winning record of 5-2-1. Colorado junior Bree Hooks is leading the team in shots for the 2nd year in a row. These Buffs are looking forward to a great season. Last season, Hooks made 8 goals in the 22 games she played, and she's already had 3 goals for the 8 games she's played this season. At the rate she is scoring this year, Hooks is on track to be as dazzling as she was last year. Some of the newest additions to the team have been making an impact as well. From Piedmont, California, freshman Erin Greening is the 3rd best shooter. Greening was the all-time lead scorer of her high school and was named All-League for her 4 years of high school soccer. Danica Evans just transferred to CU this year, coming from Portland, where she started all 21 games of her freshman year. We look forward to seeing what these new additions will do for CU for the rest of the season. Coming up on Sunday, the Buffs will be playing Villanova, who has not yet won a game this year. Comparing these two teams together so far, CU has already scored 12 goals, and Nova has only scored once. Nova's only score was in their first game, meaning they haven't scored in 6 consecutive games. It looks like the Buffs are going to have an easy win. I'm Kayla Reed reporting for Sports Mag. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Kayla. The Buffs will play Villanova on Sunday at noon in Boulder, where their team will hope to get a win at home.
Last weekend on Sunday, September 13th, the CU men's golf team finished 2nd at the Air Force Falcon Invitational. The Buffs were led by senior Philip Uhlberg, who was the individual winner of the tournament. He tied the school record for most strokes under par at -12. Juniors Ethan Freeman and Jeremy Paul were not far behind, placing 5th and 7th. The team will be back in 2 weeks at the New Mexico Tucker Invitational in Albuquerque on September 25th and 26th.
The CU women's golf team tied for 7th at the Minnesota Invitational on Tuesday. The Buffs shot 15 over par in the final round and concluded with 40 over par. Junior Esther Lee led the Buffs, finishing in 4th place tie, earning her 4th top 5 finish at CU. Head coach Ann Kelly is hopeful the team will improve as the year progresses. The Buffs will compete in the East and West Match Play Challenge at University Ridge Golf Course in Madison, Wisconsin this weekend.
Coming up after the break, we'll give you a preview of this season's hockey team.
And we have a heartwarming story about a hometown Buff. Don't go away.
In the seams and the holes in the defense. Lou foul. Slant. Caught. Nelson Spruce. Inbounds. 10 seconds. 9. No timeouts.
She is one of America's toughest drug enforcement agents. Last year, she helped convict 90 drug dealers, seize several tons of crack and marijuana, and close down 10 major drug operations. She is a 68-year-old grandmother named Irma. She set up a community drug watch that is not only changing her neighborhood, but its future. There are many ways to help in your community. Call the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
Lewis and Clark, great explorers. Hey. Hi, I'm Thomas Jefferson. Would you check out the West for me? Oh, sure. And they take their keelboat up the Missouri. Oh, Buffalo. Then they built Fort Mandan. They're at 1804. Made some friends along the way. I'm Sacagawea. Through the Columbia Gorge.
There are tons of ways to help with your kids' learning. Find the really good ones on connectforkids.org.
The sweet Pacific Ocean! Yeah!
The CU women's volleyball team is hosting the Omni Invitational this weekend. Earlier this afternoon, they kicked off the tournament against Montana State and will face Weber State tonight at 7 p.m. They are taking tomorrow off for the Rocky Mountain Showdown, but come back Sunday to play George Mason and Air Force. Make sure to get to the game for a chance to win tickets to the CU-CSU game tomorrow.
Many athletes here at CU are from Colorado and never wanted to leave. But one student was born and raised in Boulder and is now putting her mark on the city and the university. SportsMag's own Alex Doyle has a story on how Nicole Edelman is trying to spike away the competition.
Speak with Nicole Edelman this week to gain some perspective on what it is like to be the hometown hero on her team. Edelman was raised here in Boulder, Colorado, and is now in her final year at the university. She started playing volleyball at a young age and quickly excelled in the sport. In high school, she switched teams and began getting recruited from many different schools.
I started playing volleyball when I was 11, and started playing club, got pretty competitive with it. Throughout high school, I switched clubs down to a club in Denver. That's when the recruiting process really picked up because we had a great club team over there.
After switching clubs in high school, she was highly recruited, but the allure of home was too great. She ended up staying here at the Coors Event Center. Recruitment coordinator Ryle Jagd remembers when she was being recruited for the Buffaloes.
I remember them talking about Nicole about how she was wanting to go to Stanford and all these big name schools, but she chose to stay home to build something here.
It really came down to, okay, I want to stay here and build a program and be close to my friends and family. I just felt like a good spot for me here.
Nicole is looking forward to post-graduation, making plans for an adventurous professional career.
So my plans are I'm going to graduate in May. I'm going to do a double business degree. And after that, I'm looking at playing professionally overseas in Europe. Not sure quite where quite yet.
Because she grew up in Boulder, many consider Edelman to be a hometown hero, and Ryle certainly agrees.
I would definitely label her as a hometown hero, if not just one of the biggest role models you could have as a volleyball player at the University of Colorado.
Alex Doyle, CU Sports Mag.
You can catch Edelman and the rest of the volleyball team in action at the Coors Event Center this weekend for the Omni Invitational.
The CU cycling team traveled down to Colorado Springs yesterday to start off their national campaign. The women's team was able to secure a spot on the first podium of the weekend already, getting 5th in the team time trial. The Buffs will be attempting to secure podium spots in the individual time trial, head-to-head category and points race. The team is looking to improve on last year's success after taking 4th place on the track and 3rd in the overall collegiate ranking.
The CU Club Triathlon team are trying to win their 7th straight and 17th overall national championship later this school year. Back in April, the men and women won individual championships, leading with Rudy Von Berg and Rachel Lenz. The team is in a very good position to win the national championship this year, with Von Berg returning for his 4th and final year. They added a few semi-professional athletes this year who look to help bring home the win.
Buffs hockey is back and Colorado is ready for action. The Buffs added 3 transfers from NCAA Division I schools. And with the return of head coach Eric Ballard, the Buffs come into the ACHA ranked number 15 in the country. Coach Ballard is excited to be back and thinks this group can go the distance.
And when you started the program 2 years ago, that talent, the player base is much better this time around.
And I give credit to the guys we had here 2 years ago. We didn't have a lot of talent, but they worked really hard. It was a lot of fun. But biggest difference is just the overall experience. You have players in the locker room today that played at the highest levels.
Coming up, we will have the answer to that dinger of a trivia question.
And everything you need to know about the schedule of the showdown with one of our favorite segments, Rapid Fire. Don't move.
Hey, whoa, where are you going? After the break, we have this week's Rapid Fire with me, Lauren Sorge.
What was that party last night, man? Yeah, no. Wait, I can't really, you're breaking up off service. Yeah, no, and then he shoved me, and I was like, that's not cool. And so I just rocked him, and it was tight.
It was a total dime piece, man. Took him back to my place, had a few drinks, you know what I mean.
And after all of that, she told me she had a kid, and I'm not trying to be any part of that right there, you know what I mean? It was a crazy.
That's right. Do I look like a commingled contender to you? All I want is newspaper.
Why don't you bring that bottle over here? I won't be spitting it back at you.
Alright, boy, why don't you bring that bottle over here to commingle so these boys stop bickering and ruin my night.
This week, CU recognizes defensive end Derek McCartney and running back Patrick Carr as our two Athletes of the Week. Both players served as key elements in CU's win against UMass last Saturday. On our home turf, McCartney, a sophomore, had an especially outstanding game, resulting in not only a win for his fellow Buffs, but a career game for himself on his way to a forced fumble and 3 tackles. Alongside him in debuting performances is freshman Patrick Carr with 10 carries for 55 yards. This contributed to the success of the Buffs as a whole. His work as a running back has proved to show the importance of the entire offensive line in this Buffs' upcoming season. And now it's that time again. We're going to light up the studio with a little rivalry timetable in our fastest segment, Rapid Fire.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Lauren Sorge and I'm bringing to you a special edition of Rapid Fire. This week we are only looking at one game, the Rocky Mountain Showdown. This Saturday, we are watching CU versus CSU at the Mile High Stadium in Denver, and I'm giving you advice on how to have the best experience at the game. For all of you avid grillers, the parking lot opens at 1 p.m. Keep your eyes open for devoted Buff fans, yummy burgers, and epic school spirit. All gates open at 3:30 p.m. for those who are eager to get closer to the action. If tailgating wasn't satisfying enough, you have plenty of time to grab a hot dog at the concession stands before kickoff. For those who want to see the best live mascot in all of college football, Ralphie will be running across the field at approximately 4:50 p.m. I would not miss it. Last but certainly not least, kickoff is at 5 p.m. This is a whiteout game, so wear your best white attire to cheer on our Buffs. That was this week's Rapid Fire. I'm Lauren Sorge, back to you at the desk. Go Buffs!
Ever thought of what costume you would wear to a football game against a big rival? Well, our very own Sports Mag analyst, Aaron Sullivan, roamed campus to find out the answers to these hard-hitting questions.
Hey Buff fans, this is Aaron Sullivan with this week's edition of Man on the Street. This week, I decided to talk to students about their opinions on the Rocky Mountain Showdown. For the first question, I asked them, what do you think our odds are to win the game this weekend?
Buffs. Buffs.
I think it should go well. I think everyone's really excited and the team has some good morale since we just won.
I think we're going to crush them. I like to think because CSU lost their coach and they're back to square one, you know, I think that we could really kick some butt.
Next, I asked them what they would say to their CSU friends if we won or lost the game.
I would say, sorry, you're not as good as us.
I told you so.
That I'd like a large fry with my meal.
Another question I asked is, say you're the most loyal Buff fan. You're front row of every game. What costume are you sporting?
I'd probably wear like a buffalo costume, like the whole head for everything.
Maybe I'd be Buff Woman.
Ooh, I would be Pac-Man, but I would be eating little ram's heads.
Also, say we put Cam the Ram and Ralphie on the field for a true Rocky Mountain showdown. What happens?
Obviously Ralphie wins.
Well, Ralphie would spear him on his horns and then carry him to the end zone.
Oh, the Ram's screwed. He's screwed.
Well, the Rams may be screwed, but I guess we'll find out for sure on Saturday.
And put away those tablets and switch off those smartphones to silent. It's time for a grand reveal of our Sports Mag trivia question. In case you forgot, we wanted you to name the former Colorado football player who won a Super Bowl ring and then became one of the first NFL broadcasters. And the answer is Tom Brookshire. The former Buffalo player turned broadcaster played 3 years in silver and gold before jumping to the pros where he won an NFL title with the Philadelphia Eagles. Although he passed away in 2010, Brookshire will forever be a pioneer for players who want to make the jump into the press box.
This week's Tweet of the Week is one that may remind many of us of the days when we used to stalk our exes on social media or casually got caught favoriting tweets from 38 weeks ago. Only this time, the cut was deeper. The informative yet hilarious account C-Unit has been reportedly blocked from viewing or following CSU football's tweets. A strategy to create turmoil, or was it an unfortunate mistake? If CSU football is subtweeting in regards to this situation, the C-Unit will never know. Well, have you, Cyrus, thought about going to the game this weekend?
Oh, you know I'm going to be there. That was a silly question. Showdown's always one of my favorite events of the year. It's a great atmosphere. It's on neutral ground, so you never know what to expect with the crowds, and it should be a really fun time.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited. After last year, a lot of CU had to leave the stadium early because it was just not a good game, but I really think we're going to get back into it this year, and I think CSU fans are going to have to walk out early.
They're going to be the ones leaving early this year.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to volleyball, it's always really nice to see a package like that with Edelman, a hometown hero from Colorado, coming up through the ranks and really showing allegiance, which is it's a hard thing to find nowadays. So that was really interesting to see. I wish her best in her career, and hopefully she can go on to do bigger and greater things as a Buff alumni.
Yeah, and with Edelman, how do you think the women's volleyball is going to do this weekend?
I think we're going to have a great team. I think we're going to do well. We had competitive games last year, and we're only going to get better this year.
Great. Well, that's all we have for Sports Mag this week.
I'm Cyrus Allen with Mallory Chris, and have fun at the showdown. And as always, stay safe this weekend. Go Buffs!